Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. We're diving into a topic that I think a lot of us can relate to. How to keep a clean house when you've got pets.
Yeah, definitely a lot of people struggle with that.
We've got a ton of cleaning guides and blog posts here, all about pet-safe cleaning strategies and practical tips that anyone can use.
It's amazing how much information is out there these days.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And I think we're going to uncover some really interesting and maybe even surprising solutions. Like,
Yeah.
did you know that you might want to grab a pair of dishwashing gloves next time you're trying to get pet fur off of something?
Really?
Yeah. We'll get to that later, but first, I think it's important to set the stage here.
Sounds good.
So what are we hoping to achieve in this deep dive? What's our mission here?
Well, I think our mission is to help listeners understand the why behind the cleaning recommendations. Not just giving a list of tips, but actually explaining the science so they can make smart choices for their pets and their homes.
I love that. It's like we're all cleaning detectives figuring out the best ways to tackle those pet-related messes. So let's jump right in, shall we? One of the biggest challenges for pet owners, and something that every single one of these sources mentioned, is odor control.
Definitely. And almost everyone agrees that ventilation is like the first line of defense. It sounds simple, but just opening windows and letting fresh air circulate can make a huge difference in how those odors build up.
It really is the best and cheapest air freshener out there.
Mm.
But what about those smells that just seem to linger, especially in those areas where our pets spend a lot of their time?
Like carpets and rugs and
Exactly.
pet beds.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
What do we do about those?
Well, baking soda can really come in handy here. You probably already know it's good for absorbing odors,
Yeah, definitely.
but it actually neutralizes them by reacting with acidic and basic molecules, so it basically cancels them out.
Oh, wow. I never knew it was that scientific.
Yeah, it's not just masking the smell, it's getting rid of it on like a molecular level.
That's pretty impressive for something that's so easy to find and use. Do the sources mention any specific ways to use baking soda for pet odors?
Yeah, one thing they suggest is sprinkling it on your carpets or furniture before you vacuum. Just let it sit for a little bit so it can really absorb those odors.
Okay, that's a good tip. I'm going to try that. But what about those really tough stains and odors, like accidents on the carpet or that wet dog smell?
Okay, so for those tougher situations, the experts all agree enzyme-based cleaners are the way to go.
I've heard of those, but I don't really know how they work.
They have these special enzymes that break down the organic matter that's actually causing the odor.
Hmm.
So rather than just covering up the smell, they're like eliminating it at the
So they're
source.
like little odor-eating machines.
Pretty much. And the enzymes actually target specific molecules that are found in things like pet urine and feces and even vomit. So they break those down into harmless substances, which is why they're so effective at getting rid of those really stubborn pet odors.
It's like science to the rescue.
Yeah.
Now, one more odor culprit that these sources mention is pet bedding.
Oh, yeah, it's easy to forget about that.
I know. I have to admit, I don't wash mine as often as I probably should.
Yeah, but those beds and blankets can hold on to a lot of dirt and dander and those bacteria that cause odors.
Right.
And washing them regularly not only keeps them smelling fresh, but it also helps to create a healthier environment for your pet.
So what do the experts say about washing pet bedding? Like, is there a specific temperature or type of detergent we should use?
They recommend washing it in hot water, at least 140 degrees Fahrenheit, to really kill those bacteria and mites. And for detergent, it's best to look for one that's hypoallergenic, fragrance-free, and designed for sensitive skin.
That makes sense. We want to avoid anything that could irritate our furry friends. And speaking of irritants, I know a lot of pet owners worry about using cleaning products that are safe for their animals.
Yeah, that's a big concern and something the source has really emphasized. Those conventional cleaning products, they can be dangerous for pets.
Like, how dangerous are we talking?
Well, ingredients like bleach and ammonia can be toxic if they're ingested or even just inhaled. And even some essential oils can be harmful to pets.
Wow, I had no idea it was that serious.
So it's definitely something to be mindful of.
Okay, so what are some safer alternatives?
Well, the sources suggest going for DIY cleaners.
Like making them ourselves.
Exactly. You can use simple ingredients like vinegar and baking soda and water, and those solutions are surprisingly effective for general cleaning. Plus, they're much gentler on your pets and the environment.
That's great to know. Do the sources give any specific recipes or tips for making these DIY cleaners?
Yeah, one source suggested a really simple all-purpose cleaner. Just mix equal parts water and white vinegar. And if you want a little scent, you can add a few drops of pet-safe essential oil.
Like what kind of essential oils are safe for pets?
Lavender and chamomile are good options.
Okay, perfect. I'm definitely going to try that. It's amazing how effective those natural ingredients can be.
It is. And it's also important to remember to rinse those surfaces thoroughly after cleaning, especially in areas where your pets eat or play.
Yeah, because we don't want them ingesting any residue.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about odors and cleaning products, but we can't forget about one of the biggest battles for pet owners. Fur. It's like it's everywhere.
Tell me about it. It's a constant struggle.
But these sources did have some really smart strategies for tackling pet fur. And it all starts with the right vacuum cleaner.
Of course, that's like our weapon of choice.
So what kind of features should we look for in a vacuum if we have pets?
They recommend getting a vacuum with powerful suction, special attachments for pet hair, and most importantly, a HEPA filter. Those filters can trap really tiny particles like dander, which can cause allergies in both people and
Oh,
pets.
wow. I never thought about the filter being so important.
It makes a huge difference, especially if someone in your household has allergies.
Okay, good to know. But even with a great vacuum, sometimes you just need a quick fix for all that fur.
Yeah, like when you suddenly realize your couch looks like a shedding monster took a nap there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do the sources have any tips for those situations?
One source had a really surprising solution: dampened rubber gloves.
Wait, really? Like the kind you use for washing dishes?
Yeah. The rubber creates static that attracts fur, so you can just gather it up really easily.
Okay, I have to try that. That sounds way more effective than my lint roller, which always seems to lose its stickiness after like 2 swipes.
And if you've got hard floors, the sources recommend using a microfiber mop or cloth instead of a broom because microfiber can attract and trap fur so it doesn't just scatter it around.
Like a fur magnet.
And remember that regular grooming can help reduce the amount of fur you have to deal with in the first place. Brushing your pet removes loose fur and also distributes their natural oils, so it helps to keep their coat healthy and shiny.
It's a win-win. You know, I'm realizing that a lot of these cleaning solutions involve really simple things that most of us already have around the house.
That's one of the great things about these tips. You don't need fancy or expensive products.
It's all about being resourceful and creative. So we've talked about odors, fur, and pet-safe cleaning products. But what else did these sources have to say?
They also had some specific tips for different areas of the house, like pet feeding areas and litter boxes.
Oh yeah, those are definitely spots that need some extra attention.
Exactly. Let's dive into those zone-specific cleaning strategies next. All right, so let's get into those zone-specific cleaning tips. One area that always seems to need a lot of attention is the pet feeding area.
Oh, tell me about it. My dog somehow manages to turn his mealtime into a food explosion. It doesn't matter how hard I try to keep it clean, there's always crumbs and spills everywhere.
Well, the sources had some good tips for keeping those feeding areas tidy. First off, they recommend using mats under the food and water bowls. That way, those inevitable spills and crumbs are contained.
That's a good idea. I actually already use mats, but maybe I need to upgrade to something a bit more heavy-duty and easy to clean.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. One source suggested using silicone mats because they're durable, waterproof, and really easy to wipe clean. Another one mentioned washable fabric mats, but make sure they have a non-slip backing so they don't slide around.
Oh, good point. Okay, so mats are definitely a must-have. But what about cleaning the bowls themselves? I usually just give them a quick rinse, but is that really enough to keep them sanitized?
The sources all recommend washing them daily with hot, soapy water to prevent bacteria from building up. And they also said it's best to use a separate sponge or brush just for pet bowls to avoid cross-contamination with your dishes.
Yeah, that makes sense. I wouldn't want to use the same sponge I clean my frying pan with to wash my dog's bowl. Ew.
Definitely not. Speaking of things we shouldn't share with our pets, let's talk about litter boxes. It's not the most glamorous topic, but for cat owners, it's a big part of keeping a clean and odor-free home.
I have to admit, litter box cleaning is not my favorite chore. But yeah, you're right, it's definitely important.
Well, the sources really stress the importance of scooping daily. It seems obvious, but they emphasize that getting rid of that waste regularly is the best way to stop those odors from building up.
Okay, scooping daily, check.
Yeah.
But even with that, sometimes those litter boxes just have a lingering smell. Any tips for dealing with that?
Yeah, actually, a couple of interesting ones. One source said to sprinkle a layer of baking soda in the bottom of the litter box before you add the litter. Apparently, it acts as an odor absorber and neutralizes those unpleasant smells.
Baking soda, it's a miracle worker.
Right. Another tip they mentioned was using those odor-absorbing liners that are made specifically for litter boxes. They can help to trap odors and make cleaning the box even easier.
Okay, those are some good ideas. I'm definitely going to try those. Now, while we're on the topic of pet-specific areas, what about those muddy paws that seem to track dirt all over the house?
It's the classic pet owner problem, but the sources had a really clever solution for that. They suggested setting up what they called a paw station by the door.
A paw station, what's that?
It's basically a designated spot where you can clean your pet's paws before they come inside. You could use a damp towel or pet-safe wipes or even a shallow tray filled with water to rinse off those muddy
Oh,
paws.
that's brilliant. It's like a little spa treatment for my dog before he comes in and gets mud all over everything.
I love that. And the sources said that having a paw station not only keeps your floors cleaner, but also protects your pet's paws from any irritants or allergens they might pick up outside.
So it's like preventative paw care, too. Definitely going to try that. We've talked about a lot of specific cleaning tasks, but I'm curious about the bigger picture. How can we make cleaning with pets less of a chore and more a part of our daily routine?
That's a great question. The sources talked about that too. They really emphasized the importance of integrating cleaning into your everyday interactions with your pet. Like make paw cleaning part of your after walk routine or give them a quick brush while you're cuddling.
I love that idea. It's all about those little moments of connection with your pet.
Exactly. And the sources also said to remember to be realistic. Living with pets means there's going to be some level of mess. It's all about finding that balance between keeping things clean and just enjoying the fun. And yes, the occasional messes that come with having pets in our lives.
I think that's such a great point. It's not about having a perfectly spotless house. It's about making our homes comfortable and welcoming for both us and our furry family members. As we've been talking about all this cleaning stuff, it's made me think about all the different ways we can make our homes more pet-friendly.
What do you mean?
Well, we already talked about pet-safe plans, but I'm also thinking about things like having designated areas for my dog's toys, creating cozy napping spots, or maybe even setting up a little agility course in the backyard.
I love those ideas. It's all about thinking about your pet's needs and making sure your home is a place where they can thrive.
And it's about making our homes a reflection of how much we love and appreciate our pets.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It's amazing how a deep dive into cleaning can spark so many creative ideas for making our homes even more pet-friendly.
It is. So I think we've covered a lot of ground today. We've talked about getting rid of odors, tackling pet fur, using pet-safe cleaning products, and even creating a more pet-friendly home environment. What are some of the key takeaways you think our listeners should remember?
Let's make a list.
Okay.
First, a good quality vacuum cleaner with a HEPA filter. That's essential for dealing with pet fur and dander.
Yes. And we can't forget those dampened rubber gloves for quick fur removal.
That's a game changer. We also talked about enzyme-based cleaners for those really tough stains and odors.
And, of course, our trusty baking soda for absorbing all those smells.
Don't forget microfiber cloths for trapping fur on hard floors.
And those washable mats for under the food and water bowls. Containment is key.
Right. And let's add a paw station to that list.
Perfect. And finally, remember those simple DIY cleaners using vinegar and water. Effective, affordable, and safe for our pets.
That's a great list. With those tools and strategies, our listeners should be ready to tackle any pet-related cleaning challenge.
I agree. And you know what? This whole conversation has really changed the way I think about cleaning. It's not just about scrubbing and sanitizing. It's about creating a space that's healthy and happy for both us and our furry friends.
I love that. It's about finding that sweet spot where cleanliness and comfort come together and where pet-friendly living can truly thrive.
Wow, I think we've really covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
From battling those pet odors to waging war on fur. It's amazing what we can learn from all these cleaning guides.
It really is. And you know what?
Yeah.
One of the biggest things I've taken away from this is that it's not about being perfect.
Yeah, you're right.
It's about finding what works best for you and your pet and finding that balance between keeping your home clean and enjoying those furry friends.
Exactly, messes and all. We've talked a lot about cleaning up after our pets, but I'm wondering, is there anything we can do to actually design our homes to be more pet-friendly from the start?
That's a really interesting thought.
Like, could that actually make cleaning a bit easier in the long run?
Yeah, maybe. I know I've definitely noticed that some choices, like having hardwood floors instead of carpet, make a big difference when you have a dog.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hardwood floors are definitely easier to keep clean.
Right. And the sources did touch on this a little bit, talking about how choosing furniture and materials that are durable and easy to clean can make your home more pet-friendly.
That makes a lot of sense. So maybe it's time to say goodbye to that delicate antique rug and find something a little more resilient.
Right. I think that's a good idea.
Were there any other design tips in those sources that stood out to you?
One of them mentioned thinking about vertical space, especially if you have
Oh,
cats.
like cat trees and stuff?
Exactly. Giving them things to climb on, like shelves or those wall-mounted scratching posts, can really help keep them entertained. And it might actually save your furniture from becoming a scratching post, too.
It's all about giving them their own designated spaces.
Exactly.
You know what? That gives me an idea. I'm thinking about creating a little corner just for my dog, with his bed and all his toys.
Oh, I love that. Like a little pet sanctuary.
Yeah. That way, his stuff isn't scattered all over the house. Plus, it'll be easier to clean up.
Makes sense. And you know what? I think that brings up a really important point. Designing our homes with our pets in mind isn't just about practicality and cleaning, it's about making sure they feel comfortable and happy.
I love that. Creating a home that really shows how much we love and appreciate our pets.
Absolutely.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap things up. We've covered so much today, from banishing pet odors to conquering those mountains of fur, and even some ideas for making our homes more pet-friendly.
It's been a great deep dive.
It really has. And I think we've armed our listeners with all the tools and knowledge they need to create a clean and happy home for both themselves and their furry friends. So until next time, happy cleaning, everyone.